Can you describe its form?
No.
Was it carbon-based?
I don't know.
Did it communicate with you?
It reacted to me.
You really have no idea what it was.
Did your husband contact you at any point while he was away?
No.
It was his decision to go in.
Why did my husband volunteer for a suicide mission? You have to tell me where he was, what he was doing. I need to know what's inside. I could save him.
Hey guys, everyone out there in YouTube land, welcome back to the channel, Captain Bailey's Adventures and Reviews. And today on Pipe Chats, me and the first mate, we've been thinking on this and really pondering this film that we're going to talk about, Annihilation. Right? It's been a while since I've been to the theaters and seen something that I really liked. I mean, after that debacle of Star Wars, The Last Jedi, how they ruined the franchise and my hero and everything else. As you know, I've ranted about that enough, and so have so many other people on YouTube. But today we're going to talk about Annihilation. I had to wash my mind out from that abomination. So the next movie that I decided to go see was, in fact, Annihilation. And I didn't want to do the review till I really thought on the movie and also read the novel, because it was by Jeff Vandermeer. The movie is not based on the book entirely. Let's just say it's not like watching Lord of the Rings and then going to read the book, and you can see how it's pretty much to a T the book in film format. You know, creative differences aside, and pacing and time like that. This, the director and writer, let me look up his name here. Let me just look at my notes. Yeah, Alex Garland. He read the book once, just the first novel. It's a trilogy, okay? So you have to read like three little short novels in order to, get the premise of what really is going on and things like that. So he only read the first one, and that's where the movie is based. But he only read it once, never just went back to it at all, and he had a dream about the book. So basically what you're getting from the movie is his own weird version of the book. So it really is something different. I loved it. You can agree or disagree. That is your choice. But I really enjoyed this film. If you go on IMDb or you look at a lot of different reviews, a lot of people don't like it. They don't understand it. They find it too artsy, or it makes them think. And as it always is, it seems with American audiences, they always want answers at the end of the movie. You know, a lot of these foreign films that I watch, and old horror films and like that, they're so out of whack and everything else. It's almost like a hippie, I don't know, psychedelic trip going on, you know? Where you don't know what the hell's going on, especially these Italian gore fest zombie films that I watch. Like, there's no plot, it's just all gore, and then, the storyline goes one way, and then you're like, wait a minute, you can't watch that like it's a real movie. And so this was so different, I guess, for some people, that I was like, they wanted answers and they didn't get them. Because you're not going to get the answers. You have to come up with the answers in your own head. Just like when you read the novel. If you decide to read the novel, which I highly suggest you do, because it's obviously way better than the movie, obviously, and it's so different. And, I don't know about giving out spoilers and things like that. I mean, the movie's been in theaters. There's so many reviews on YouTube now about it. It's got Natalie Portman. Let's see. the main actresses, yeah, Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and a couple other people. Of course, the guy from Star Wars, Oscar Isaac, the new Star Wars film, the pilot, Poe Dameron. He was an interesting tidbit that I found out. He was actually filming that Star Wars junk at the same time he was filming this. So he was using the same trailer. It was like on the same lot. It was like really, you know, he got to do the job right then and there. Both gigs. So, yeah. Now the movie is so beautiful. I mean, from the moment I sat down in the theater and it opened up, it was like, what the H and what the F. I was saying that the whole, on the edge of my seat the whole time, and it's been a long time since I've done that with a movie. The movie that I really enjoyed before this one, before Star Wars, was Blade Runner 2049. I thought it was all right for at least it wasn't a remake. Okay, it was different. It tried to recapture that old feel, but okay, that's a different review. I'm getting off topic, but with this, it was a very beautiful film. It was very like an artsy, like it's very slow paced. Don't think that you're going to see all this action right away. It's very slow. It draws you in, and it just keeps you going up until the final end, and then boom, you're like left with a gut in your soul, and you're like, what did I just watch? What does this mean? Like, it's a and you have to go into it thinking, it's a play on the title as well. Now remember, this is the director's version. If you read the book first and then go see it, it's not going to be, it's a play on the word annihilation. Is it annihilating ourselves? Is it the annihilation of the world from an alien life form or whatever this organism is? In the book, you really never really find out. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the book. You never really find out what the entity was or how it came to Earth, but it was somehow trapped in the lighthouse, and then these researchers, by either faults of their own or the government, they let it out, and then it infects the lighthouse keeper. And in the book it's called the Border, not the Shimmer, and you really can't even see it, and there's like a weird doorway that it created on its own that they somehow delegate how the people go through. Because if you go through that part that you see in the film, that's the Shimmer, they sent like wild rabbits through that, and they heard a loud screaming, like of all the millions of rabbits that they let loose, and then they just like evaporated into nothing. And it was just like one day the border came down in the book. The border just came down one day. If the planes were in the sky going this way, and the border just totally went up, they just like, people just disappeared, and no one ever knows what happened. And there's a very weird, in the book, there's a very weird time displacement to where you go in there, and at first, in the first half of the book, they come back. Natalie Portman's character, she is a clone in the book. She's not her true self in the book anymore. And in the book, her other real self becomes the assimilation, or whatever this thing does to the human beings. It like assimilates her into like this giant Lovecraftian monster, which I loved because it had like elements of Lovecraft in the novel. It had thousands of eyes. It was undescribable, and it was like in big bulk and things like that. It's very, very, very weird. And so it's a clone. She is the clone in the book, and it's just so, man, like I said, the border goes up, and like it does like this weird thing with time displacement, to where one of the characters, when they actually, her and another character, the biologist, go back into the world. She was there, and now she's the clone, so she takes another guy that became the new director. She goes back with him, and he finds another co-worker that he used to work with, his second in command, and she had been there for 3 years. In our world, it had only been like a couple weeks since the border shifted and took over their base, and so it was really weird on time. So maybe that's why when they went in the first time, everybody, like old previous exhibitions that had went in, the time, maybe there might have been like 15, 20 years before now this next group goes in. So then these people are already gone, they're dead. The shimmer or the aliens are at the airplane had totally annihilated them and transformed them into maybe plants or whatever, animals. In the book, she sees an owl when she's living there. She's lived there for 30 years. She left a journal. So she was in there. The original biologist was in there for 30 years, and I guess died there. She left a biography, and she traveled this owl that she believed was the reincarnation of her husband through this whatever happened. Took its soul, took his human shape, and turned him back into an owl. It's like the book is really far-fetched and crazy. So I really do highly recommend you read the book. And the film, like I said, is totally different, but it has so many elements. You can sit through it. I mean, I read so many comments and negative things that I read about this film on IMDb, Internet Movie Database. And I'm like, well, people just don't get it. They want answers. They either, I don't know. It's, they talk about all this negative about how they didn't get the film. It's not a true sci-fi. It's all these different elements. And, you know, and I want to say this, that I liked it because it was so different, and it made you think. And I was like, always like, what the F? Like, you have to watch this film several times. Like, you know, if it's already out of theaters by now, probably. Like, I don't understand why they sat there and sold the rights to Netflix overseas. So you guys are in the UK and places like that, you get to see this, you know, on Netflix. I guess for free. But I really believe it should have got more wider distribution. But I think because it was so, people didn't like it when they first did the screening because it made them think. I guess because we're so out of touch with, you know, reading novels and really thinking anymore. We're such a technological age now that these people just don't get it, you know. And I like the fact that you got to come up with your own ending sometimes. You know, makes you really takes you as a viewer, even in a book. It takes you as a person to sit there and say, well, I want to make this is what's going to happen. And why can't you? Why does it have to be set in stone to where the director or the writer has to sit there and say, no, this is what's going to happen? I mean, because then it's like blah. And you see that every day, and I think we're getting too much of that. So then you're like, you know, you're desensitized or whatever it is, your brain, that part of your brain that comes up with, you know, whatever it's going to do. Like when you read a book, before you see the movie, like say for instance Jaws, you have all these scenes in your own mind that your mind creates, the actors and characters and what they look like in the scenes that you see. But see, if you watch the movie, that's the way it is always going to be. But if you read, you know, I find that when you reread a novel that you really like, and you go back to it 2-3 times, you know, put it away, read a bunch of other stuff, pick it up a year or two from the time that you did read it, and you'll see that the scenes aren't always the same in your own mind. So, and I love that. But when you sit there and see a movie, it's the same thing over and over again. So when you're watching it 5 years from now, you know, it's the same old thing. It's nothing new, and you'll be bored or whatever. But I just don't understand the negativity towards this film. I really enjoyed it, and I just don't understand why people could say, you know, oh, it's too artsy, or it's too, you know, it doesn't, you know, like I said, somebody said something about it took elements from other films, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, if you want to see a really good sci-fi film. But what I like about it is that, hey, there's nothing wrong with a movie that takes elements from other films and puts it in there. I mean, maybe it's tongue-in-cheek, maybe it's the director or writers, you know, like a thumbs up to an old film. You know, he really liked Invasion of the Body Snatchers, so he threw some sort of element of that film in this film. There's nothing wrong with that. At least it's not a remake. You people in Hollywood and the garbage that you're spewing out, that people, you know, and you're playing on the heartstrings of people, you know, we all had with that, you know, Star Wars J.J. Abrams, you know, Force Awakenings crap, okay? You know, fool me once, shame on me twice, and I'm not going again. You're not going to fool me no more. you sat there and took something, and we all were fooled thinking that we're going to see something new, and all he did was make a remake. Every single part of that film is a remake. It's the same Death Star. They're still the rebels running for their life. What the heck? But except with the new central character, you know, it's just. Excuse me. Took that, and we all were fooled, thinking that we're going to go in and see something new, and we saw a remake. So when you see a film like this that may take elements from other films, I mean, case in point, an old 1980s film, I forget what year, late 80s, Night of the Creeps, excellent film, and they took every actor's character name in the film was from a major horror director. Sam Raimi, Romero, I mean, the whole list. Cronenberg, all the great directors. This guy played on their names. Like, what part of their name would have a major directors in it? And I just love that about that. I mean, he just put that in there, and that was great. I mean, you can't, you know, and there was so many elements of that film that took from other films as well. Zombies, the 1950s sci-fi films, you know, slugs invading your brain. I mean, it was a great idea. And I don't have a problem with certain films taking elements from that and incorporating in their film. So you can sit there and go here and say, you know, this film goes all over the place. Annihilation. You know, it's a thriller. It's got that thrilling part to it. It's got horror in it. It has a horror element. The soundtrack is phenomenal. All right, gives you the, you know, so, like, makes you feel so weird, because this thing that's taking over our world or whatever is so weird and alien, and you don't know what the hell's going on. And I don't want to do any spoilers, so you guys go check it out. On the captain's scale, I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna go for perfect film, but I mean, because there's things that, you know, could have been done differently. You know, as everything, you could pick this thing apart. Anybody could pick anything apart, but it really makes you think. So hopefully if you see my video here, and then, you know, before you see the movie, or if you're even going to see this movie again, I hope this helps you out, because you can't go into it thinking that you're going to find answers. It's going to make you think. It's a play on the word annihilation, okay? And if you can figure that out, there's other YouTube videos that actually talk more in depth about that, and they give spoilers and things like that. So, so I hope you enjoyed this episode of Pipe Chats and reviewing the movie Annihilation. Like I said, I love the books. I love, you know, but the only thing I want to say this about the book. It does end on a note to, like this film makes you think. There's 3 different plot points in the book, and I'm like, well, did they resolve the conflict between this entity, this thing that's taking over our world? Do the people ever get out of it? Does what happened to the new director? Something happens to him in the book, and you're like, you want to know. You want to know. You know, I've been on forums discussing this and looking at it, and people are like, yeah, you want to know what happened to this guy? What's going on? It's left for you as the reader to come up with it in your own head. So, I guess I'll have to do that. So the captain and the first mate are going to finish our pipe and our coffee. And I just hope you liked the captain's review of Annihilation. I really enjoyed this film. something that, I really don't go to the theaters that much. It's not worth it. If you go, the kids are always making noises, or depending on when you go, people getting up to go to the bathroom, playing with their phones. I mean, the experience in the theater is not the way it used to be. And I'd rather just sit at home, privacy of my own home, and watch these films, which is okay. But I mean, I know that they're not going to make money on the films if you do that, but that's what so it's very rare that I go. Basically, what I'm saying is it's very rare that I go to the movies and try to go see something. So it's very rare, like I said, that I go see films in theaters. I have to really want to see it, and this really looked interesting to me. I like Natalie Portman and Jennifer Jason Leigh. I haven't seen her since Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and I haven't seen any other work, But yeah, so they really did good performances and things like that. And I really liked the film, and so that's why I went to go see it. I wanted to have that theater experience. So it's very rare that I go to a theater to have that theater experience, even if it's a risk with all the unwanted noise sometimes and things like that. That's why I try to go during matinees where no one, maybe not opening night like Friday night. Obviously I work nights, so I can't anyway. But I'll just go during a matinee. Hopefully, not many people come in. It's a major blockbuster movie like that trash Star Wars was supposed to be. It's still packed. But so, thank you for listening to my rant and review of Annihilation, starring Natalie Portman and Jennifer Jason Leigh and Oscar Isaac. They did really well. So I hope you go out, check it out. If you have seen the film, put some comments down. Maybe we'll have a discussion about it until we do it again. Remember what me and the first mate always say, let's set sail.